Hello, friends. It's the Matt Murphy Show, 6 minutes after 5 o'clock. Glad to be with you. Thank you for being with us. Hour number 3 starts right now. Happy to deliver the news for you and opine on said same. We'll allow you to give us a call, 615-737-9986. Would love to hear from you on the call-in lines or on the super text line. Same number, 615-737-9986. There's a lot of news coming out of Iran, and I don't know what to believe regarding the possibility of regime change there, because I don't know what I can believe on social media platforms like the X machine. So I got that going on. I'm covering that story. I'm monitoring that story. There are suggestions that the Iranian regime might be toppled over by the people of that nation. And that's great news for the people that desire freedom as opposed to the oppression that they lived under for so many years. So we're monitoring that situation. We're also monitoring the aftermath of the action, the military and legal action in Venezuela. We'll continue to discuss that. We will continue. We've got nincompoops in the news coming up in just a few moments. I've got an update on the Music City Loop, a.k.a., according to Chris Hand, the B&A hole. We don't call it the B&A hole on the Matt Murphy Show because we believe in this project, and we want to be one of the first to ride in this project. And I don't believe that Hand is going to be at the front of the line, Tesla or no Tesla, if he continues to refer to it as the B&A hole. I just don't think that's happening. So we'll continue to call it the Music City Loop. We got an update for you coming up, and I promised you that we would get into the issue of DUI arrests in the state of Tennessee. This is shameful. And you will find no bigger supporter of our law enforcement agencies around the state of Tennessee than yours truly, Matt Murphy. But what is going on with regard to DUI arrests and the number of, dare I say, fraudulent DUI arrests? Absolutely shameful. But before we get into any of that, per his own request, Jackson Williams, the illustrious and soon-to-be erstwhile producer of the Matt Murphy Radio Show, has what he refers to as a major, big-time sports minute.
Oh.
With action, Jackson Williams on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jackson,
what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You got some sports news there, buddy?
I do. Titans head coaching search heating up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
As the Titans have requested to interview 7 candidates that I have in front of me.
None of whom I've ever heard of. I don't think.
You've heard of these people.
Matt Nagy?
Matt Nagy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator.
Is it Nagy?
Nagy.
Is it Nagy?
Nagy.
As in he's nagging people a lot?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully nagging them to play better.
All right.
Vance Joseph, the Broncos defensive coordinator and former head coach of the Broncos.
No.
Steve Spagnuolo.
I know him.
The Chiefs defensive coordinator.
I'm 2 for 1. 2 and 1.
Lou Anarumo, Colts defensive coordinator.
Easy for you to say.
Raheem Morris.
Oh, yeah.
Former Falcons head coach.
No, you don't want Raheem Morris.
Kevin Stefanski, the former Browns head coach.
No.
Jason Garrett, the former Cowboys head coach.
Yeah.
Last hour, the Baltimore Ravens fired their head coach, John Harbaugh.
What?
Yes.
And so he is expected to be a top candidate for every NFL opening.
Yes, sir.
Top
John
candidate
Harbaugh?
on the market.
John Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Yes.
After going 8-9, they said, you're out.
So after 18 years in Baltimore, he's looking for a new home, and he is my preferred candidate at this point.
Hey, fellas, y'all think he'll bring that Derrick Henry with him?
Hopefully.
Nice. That'd be nice.
They just signed him to an extension, so I doubt it.
That's probably unfortunate, but yeah, that Derrick Henry, he remains to be pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. How long had Harbaugh been with the Ravens?
18 years.
18 seasons.
Yeah. Since 2008.
What do you make of that?
Time for a change. They didn't feel like they were competing at the level that their talent garnered.
That might be a mistake.
I think it is. I think it's
But might be good for the Titans.
could be great for the Titans. I think ultimately he goes to New York.
I think Harbaugh is definitely the best option out of all those you mentioned.
Well, certainly the most proven. I mean, the guy's he's been to a Super Bowl, hasn't he?
He's won a Super Bowl, and his win percentage was, I looked it up, .614.
That's
for
not
his
bad,
career.
man.
For 18 seasons, winning 61% of your games.
Well, I mean, boy, mean, the NFL, I guess, does. I mean, like, what was his name? Jerry Glanville said the NFL stands for not for long.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you boys a question here. How many head coaches right now in the NFL used to be coordinators and are successful now as head coaches?
Oh, gosh, I would think.
Pretty much all
most
of them at some point, yeah.
Most of them, I would
So
think.
Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Vrabel wasn't a successful coordinator, but he was a coordinator.
But I mean, were they real successful as coordinators and then just easily transitioned?
McVay.
Well, Weaver, I get where you're going with it. It is a different job description. It is a different job.
Absolutely.
To be successful. I mean, I think it is just as easy to miss as it is to hit on those types of things.
I think when you look at this list specifically that I read for the Titans, you see all but one name has been a head coach in the NFL at some point.
Huh.
So the Titans, Brian Callahan was never a play caller or head coach in the NFL. So the Titans are looking for somebody with experience coming into this
Callahan
job.
didn't call plays?
No, not in Cincinnati. He called them here, and they weren't very successful.
Oh.
The what's his name? Spagnuolo, the Browns guy. He I just feel like, I mean, I understand the automatic reaction going no, but
Well, I know because it's tied to the Browns.
but at the same time, I feel like that wasn't what's his name? Belichick. Did he coach the Browns? He did coach the Browns.
He did?
Yeah, I think he did. And he failed. Because, the Browns that's where you go to fail.
That's a front office thing.
That's a front office thing. That's just I don't know. I don't understand. They're snake bit. I mean, maybe an ownership thing. Didn't Belichick coach the Browns?
Yeah, they were good.
Were they good?
Yeah, they were
I
on
don't
the
know.
playoff
They
team.
were good.
They were a playoff team.
Yeah, they got to the
Belichick got them to the playoffs.
You got to remember the Ravens became the Browns, or the Ravens were the Browns.
Oh.
In 96, the
That's
Browns moved to
right.
Baltimore and became the Ravens. The Ravens are the old Browns.
Man, I thought the Colts moved to somewhere.
The Colts moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis.
Oh, okay. So the Colts moved.
and
wait
the
a minute.
Titans moved from
Yeah,
Houston.
it was the Baltimore Colts, and
Yep.
they moved to Indianapolis, became the Indianapolis Colts, and then the Baltimore fan base was like, where the hell's our team? And so the Browns then moved.
Browns moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens, and then the expansion team is the one that's snake bitten.
Huh. Well, there you go. That's why we have Action Jackson Sports Minutes on Super Talk
That's way to go,
99.7
Brother
WT.
Jackson.
There you go, Jackson. Jackson, you also had a question about Greenland.
Yeah, why do we want Greenland? What are we doing with Greenland?
Well, we need ice for our drinks. That's why.
Thought we already had lots of ice.
So, earnest question: why do we want Greenland?
Yeah.
We want Greenland because of its strategic placement on the globe, on the map, and we want Greenland because of rare earth minerals.
Would it be a state?
I don't know. I don't think it would automatically be. I mean, here's the deal. There's like 14 people in Greenland. Okay? I mean, I don't know how many people are in Greenland, but there are not a lot of them. Denmark likes to lay claim to Greenland, but there's some question about whether that
Isn't
claim-
it its own country?
No, I think they are a part of Denmark.
Yeah, I think it's just a part of Denmark. Something that interesting that Haggerty said there. He kind of went off into the global warming type thing, but I guess with the way ice has moved, he said it's opened. The corridors have now been opened in that region. And according to what he said, Russia and China are noticing these corridors. Everything we do is to counter Russia and China.
Well, a lot of what we do.
Everything.
That's
And
the truth.
Estimate of the population is 56,000 people.
Yeah, 56,000 people.
But they got
They're-
lots of minerals.
A lot
There-
of money, too.
Lots of
4.48
minerals. We want the ice. We want what's under the ice. We want what's in the ground. We want the
Oil.
minerals.
Is it oil?
I don't know that there's oil there. There are almost as many people in Columbia, Tennessee, as there are in Greenland.
Oh.
That says a lot, right? So, Chuck wants to know, when did WTN become a sports station? Chuck, we're not a sports station.
Just humor me for 5 minutes, please.
Every once in a while, we allow Jackson Williams, our illustrious executive producer, an opportunity to present an Action Jackson Sports Minute when it is appropriate and we believe timely and of interest to the general listening audience. And so we have done so today. Now we're on to Greenland.
I have one final question for you.
All right.
Did you ever watch Bad Santa?
I tried to.
Ken, it wasn't your assignment, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, Ken and I tried to. Ken, why couldn't you get through it?
I don't know, dude. It just wasn't my bag.
Yeah, me too. Not my cup of tea, Jackson.
Well, I've had to sit through things that aren't my cup of tea, like Fred Claus.
I guess we need to.
Man, that's a good movie, Brother Jackson.
We need to decide if we're going to continue that bit.
I love that bit.
What, the movie bit?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you got to give me an opportunity to get settled into the new house. So I think we crank the bit up at the beginning of February in advance of Valentine's Day, and we do love stories.
Ken, mark this day in your calendar, please.
Yes, sir.
This is the day the bit died.
What do you mean the day the bit died? I got to get moved, man. I don't even know my internet service provider down there in Mount Juliet.
Oh, they have
Mount
internet?
Juliet, Mount Pleasant.
They have internet down there?
I'm switching mounts, y'all. How often will I call my new home Mount Pleasant, Mount Juliet before I get it into my brain?
Probably after you stop taking 40 east.
Yes, they certainly have internet. I got a cell tower real close to my house, so I'm very excited about that.
You ought to be set then.
Maximum service, baby. Maximum service.
Heard they just got 3G down there.
Mm-hmm. They got an unemployment office down there, too.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Take folks from all walks of life. Hermitage, Old Hickory. Oh, yeah.
Even Birmingham or Thompson, Georgia.
THOMSON, and Thompson. All right, so DUIs. More than 100 Tennessee law enforcement agencies reported arresting at least one person suspected of driving under the influence in 2024, only to discover no alcohol or drugs in their blood. I want to hear anonymous, if necessary, from our law enforcement community on the phone lines at 615-737-9986. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation reported the numbers to Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally and House Speaker Cameron Sexton as required by a new state law passed unanimously April 15. Under the bill, the Bureau must detail to the lawmakers all instances in the past year when someone was charged with a DUI, but, quote, no alcohol or other intoxicants were detected in the person's blood or breath. The reporting requirement will end after 2029, although I seriously doubt it will end because of some of these results. The law came about after media scrutiny surrounding questionable arrests by the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Here are the numbers, and Ken Weaver's been reporting these diligently all day, and we appreciate his reporting from the News Closet B. 419 people arrested by 108 law enforcement agencies in the state of Tennessee in 2024. Is that right? 2024?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 2024. That's right. The Tennessee Highway Patrol, which has the widest jurisdictional reach among them, reported the most, with 190 arrests, nearly 46% of the total cases. While the statute states no intoxicants were detected in the person's blood or breath, it is important to note, while TBI calibrates breath alcohol instruments, we do not administer breath testing, the TBI told lawmakers in its report. As such, we derived this data from DUI-related blood submissions to the TBI crime laboratories only. Why? So this begs a couple of questions, and we will invite Cameron Sexton on. We will invite McNally will not come on with us for whatever reason. We'll invite Jack Johnson on from over in the Senate, maybe someone from the governor's office. Does anyone know why Tennessee doesn't do breathalyzers or breath tests? Because according to this article that I'm reading from out of the Tennessean, TBI says they calibrate breath alcohol instruments. They don't administer breath testing. The Bureau also said while tests do not show a positive result in those cases, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are sober. The agency said in its report, quote, there are various substances that might impair a driver, but for one reason or another may not be detected through our screening. While alcohol screening and impairment can be considered relatively straightforward, drug toxicology can be incredibly more complex. Middle Tennessee had the highest concentration of DUI arrests where no alcohol or drugs were detected in blood samples, according to the numbers released by the TBI. Predictably, the largest concentration of arrests happened around Tennessee's largest cities, obviously Memphis being one. Although Memphis was something of an outlier, according to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Memphis reported only one case. The Metro Nashville Police Department was not included in the list. The law only specifies TBI must report these numbers, and Nashville operates their own crime lab and their own testing numbers. So state troopers reported the following number of arrests. Knoxville, 41, Chattanooga, 17, Nashville, 37, Memphis, 15, Lawrenceburg, 25, Jackson, 40, and on it goes. So what we have are people getting pulled over. Perhaps they're driving erratically, or there is some reasonable suspicion on the part of the police officer that they are impaired. They cannot identify that impairment through breath screening. I'm even confused about that. So we don't do breathalyzers in the state of Tennessee? Y'all forgive my ignorance. I've only been here 4 years, after all. But boom. There are no breathalyzers in this state. When you get pulled over, you do what? I don't know that I could pass some of those roadside tests.
I know honestly. I couldn't say the alphabet backwards right now.
I don't know. I don't think they make you say it backwards. I think that's an old wives' tale because I don't. Z, Y, X, W, U, V, V, U, T. I do know that they make you say it forwards, and they're listening for your manner of speech when you do that. And then, they do the eye test where they do the little eye bop where they make you look over here and make you look over there. And if your eye bounces, then that's an indication that you are under some sort of intoxicating substance. You got to do the heel to toe. You got to raise the leg. You got to count to 10 and all of those sorts of things. I get those roadside examinations. I also understand how reasonable people who are not inebriated in any fashion could fail them. I want to know why, if there is any good reason, we don't do more breathalyzer type testing. Number two, these toxicology exams in some cases take 8 months to get back. And if I'm not inebriated, if I've not had any alcohol and I'm arrested for DUI and then my report comes back negative, you damn right I'm suing whatever agency arrested me. I mean, consider for a second me, right? I just moved to Mount Pleasant. That's a pretty fair drive. Pretty far down the road.
Yeah.
Let's say I get pulled over and I'm tired after a long, hard day yapping on the radio, and there's some sort of suspicion that I'm driving inebriated. And I'm like, no, I haven't had any alcohol. I just got off of work. And they determine that I have, in fact, driven under the influence of something. And I say, no, that's not true. They take me to jail and they take my blood. If my bosses at Cumulus Media found out that I had been arrested for DUI, I would be fired. I'd be fired. And they would not care terribly much what I had to say about it. I would suggest to you. And 8 months down the road, after I'm exonerated, you think I'm getting my job back? Look, I support law enforcement. I understand that most of the men and women that are engaged in this activity are doing it the right way, but this just feels weird, folks. Let's talk about it. 25 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Any of you fellows want to say something to my brother? He's listening.
How about you, Brother Murphy's brother?
My bro, Brian, from Seal, Alabama, 2 E's and an A in Seal, is listening. Brian here from Seal, Alabama. Just curious who actually reads this thing. Well, I do.
I pop on there occasionally.
Yeah, Jackson reads it on occasion. The super text line, that is 615-737-9986. Speaking of my brother, we're getting to nincompoops in the news coming up in just a moment on Super.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was the oldest age that Matt wet the bed?
Ask my brother about the time that I popped him in the head with a baseball bat because he was coming at me.
Nope. Wet the bed.
He claims that he was play acting, but the knot on his head says different or said different.
Sibling rivalry.
We were Brian would, you know what? We would play a game of, we called it football, Ken.
Football.
And we were in the middle of nowhere outside of Thompson, Georgia, THOMSON, no P in Thompson. And it was just Brian and I, and we would try to play baseball and football, just us.
Yeah, right.
And I was 2 years younger than my brother, and football involved him throwing the ball at me.
Yes.
And then me catching the ball, and then him destroying me.
Right.
Just destroying me.
Yeah.
And then calling that a touchdown.
Touchdown.
Yeah. Not very fair if you ask me. I'm getting to nincompoops in just a moment, but I asked for a number of telephone calls, and I want to get to some of my members of the law enforcement community that have called us. Like John is I believe, a member of law enforcement, wants to talk about these DUIs. Hey, John.
Hey, Matt. So I just want to say I appreciate you taking calls on this. And
of course.
I listen to y'all's station all day while I'm at work from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so Chris was going over it earlier, and he didn't take any calls on it, and I was just yelling at my radio. So I appreciate you taking calls, and I'll try to answer any questions you got that to the best of my ability. I'll start off by clarifying some of the breathalyzer. So TBI doesn't do the physical breathalyzers. Most breathalyzers are held at the county jails. So when you arrest somebody for DUI, you have the ability to take them to the county jail, and the state laws on breathalyzers are so strict that a lot of law enforcement don't even use them anymore because it's a lot easier to just get a blood sample. Because when you do a breathalyzer, there's a 30-minute mandatory observation period. So when you arrest somebody for DUI and you believe, and second of all, breathalyzers only detect alcohol coming from the breath. They don't detect any drugs that the subject may have taken or anything like that. So it's strictly an alcohol test. So when you go to the jail, you have to start the breathalyzer. It's got a timer on it that you have to sit there and watch this person, make sure they don't drink anything, eat anything, chew gum, burp too much. Like, it's a long process just to make sure that their mouth isn't contaminated with anything 30 minutes prior to actually taking the breath sample. And so you sit there for 30 minutes, twiddling your thumbs, watching them. And there's been cases where an officer is watching a subject for that 30-minute period, and a supervisor or somebody may walk up, ask them a question. They turn to answer the question, talk to the supervisor a second, and then turn back. And that's been challenged in court that, hey, he wasn't watching them for that 2 or 3 minutes that he answered that question. So it's a lot of trouble to try to just do a breathalyzer.
I guess I understand what you're saying. I mean, this is odd to me because back in my day, I mean, I remember having breathalyzers administered to me on the side of the road.
Yeah, the portable breathalyzer.
The blow test, right?
Yeah.
And
in the state of Tennessee, we're not allowed to use those. In the state of Tennessee, the only mobile breathalyzers you can have cannot indicate a blood alcohol content. So, the ones that you see at the bars or you can buy online or whatever to test yourself, you blow in it, it'll tell you what your alcohol content is. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, you're not allowed to have those on the side of the road. The only ones that we're allowed to have on the side of the road says that will give us a presence of an alcoholic beverage. So, like, if you have one on the side of the road, you can only use it to say, hey, yes, there's alcohol. It don't tell you how much. You could have had any amount. It'll just say yes, alcohol, or no alcohol. They don't, and that is very finicky too, because you can't use those until after the person has been placed under arrest for DUI. I would love to be able to be like, hey, are you drunk? Blow. Yep, you're drunk. You're under arrest. But you can't. That's not the way it's allowed in Tennessee. In Tennessee, you have to go through field sobriety tests, all that stuff, and be placed under arrest for DUI before you could even use something like that.
Well, would you? And I understand everything you're saying, and I appreciate that, and I know that y'all just have to deal with the rules as they are presented to you, right? I mean, you don't make the rules; you just abide by the ones that you have to go by. But would you not agree that if you have over 400 people in 1 year being falsely accused, I mean, that's the only way. The only thing I can go by is if the blood test comes back negative, and if the blood test comes back negative, then by definition they weren't driving under the influence.
Yes, but there's a second part to that they don't involve or really say on that. So when blood is sent to TBI, when you fill out the TBI form, you have two boxes. One is a alcohol test and one's a drug test. If you select alcohol test, they only test for alcohol in the blood. They don't test for the drugs. So most officers will check both, because sometimes you'll have somebody that's doing two things, either drinking with a narcotic on board, or they're just got the narcotics on board.
Sure.
Now, when they send the blood to TBI, now, again, I'm just a street-level cop, so I don't have any control over what TBI does on their side. But when you send the blood to them, they have a panel, I believe it's of 5 different drugs, like your main category of drugs. And they test for those, and then they will test for the alcohol. And then they send you those results. And in this legislation, if you get the test results back and it's a negative on both sides, drug and alcohol, then TBI then has to retest the blood with a full panel of drugs to see if the initial test didn't catch something. And so
why don't they just do a full panel to begin with?
I would assume it's because, just like y'all were talking about earlier, I don't know if you said it, but like the rape kits and all this other stuff, there's so many blood kits, I would assume, this is just me assuming because I don't know the facts of it, but there's so many blood kits coming in that I would say probably 9 times out of 10 that simple panel that can be done a lot faster.
Well, here's the bottom line. I mean, and I'm not blaming you, John, but I go to the doctor and I get blood work done today. I get my blood work back in 2 days. So I don't understand. I think the biggest issue for me is that it is taking, and this is not the fault of law enforcement in cars, on the streets, patrolling the streets, trying to do their jobs. The biggest problem that I have is that it is taking 8 months to get this stuff back.
I agree.
And if TBI and if the officials that are testing the blood can't figure out a better way to do this, I mean, they have to figure out a better way to do this. Because it's one thing, I appreciate if John stops Matt Murphy and you have reasonable cause to believe that I'm intoxicated. And I say, no, I'm not. And you say, well, we're going to take some tests and I'm going to have to take you in. I'm going to have to get blood work done. Well, it's one thing for me to get blood work done, and then by the time I go to court, I've been exonerated. The blood work came back negative, and, that's one thing. It's another thing for me to go through the entire process and then my blood work come back 8 months later.
I will say that we've got new technology for roadside, so they won't. If you looked in that legislation, they added in mouth swabs. So when you commit like an aggravated assault or an aggravated crime of that nature, they do a mouth swab of your DNA when you're arrested. So they use that legislation and stuff to attach this new technology, and I was issued it. I was one of the first officers in the state of Tennessee to get issued this device, and so now at the end of once you're placed under arrest, we do a mouth swab, and within 15 minutes, it'll tell me any drugs that, well, most of your top drugs. It's kind of like, some of those are hard
top line.
test.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's an advancement that we can get behind then.
Yeah, so that'll tell you right then, and again, it won't tell you how much is in the blood because, again, I guess Tennessee just doesn't want that to happen. But it'll tell you positive for marijuana, positive for methamphetamines, positive for, different drugs like that. So it'll tell you what's on board at the time. But still, yeah, you're correct. Waiting that long, I know it's, bad, for the defendant, but it's also, us too waiting because, we'll be prepared for court and then it'll get reset to another date and then we'll have to be prepared for that one. And it's just as a pain on our side as well. I know.
Well, I know that the people that I know, and I'll include you in this comment, John, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but the people that I know, the men and women that serve in law enforcement, they would like nothing more than a better system to ensure that they get the bad guys off the streets and behind bars when they're endangering the public safety, and the folks that have done nothing wrong, they get to go about their way. I believe that in my heart, that the vast majority of the men and women that wear the badge want that.
That's 100% because, I will be honest, like a lot of law enforcement don't like to deal with DUIs because of such how it's a running joke that people will fight a DUI more than they'll fight a murder case because it affects your ability to drive, go from place to place, things of that nature. And I know how crucial that is. And then on our side, if we don't cross the right T's or dot the right I's, in the grand scheme of things, a DUI is a misdemeanor charge. It's not a felony or anything crazy, but it does affect your driving ability. You're talking about losing your job. That's 100%. And so if it was easier for us to make, like you said, find the bad guys, put the bad guys that are committing these crimes, it would be easier for everybody.
Well, I would say that, and I'll say that, I'll leave it at this because, this is a great conversation, John, and I'm so glad you called. But I would say if we were talking about 40 in a calendar year, maybe I'm not even talking about this, but over 400, that needs to be looked at, and it's probably not a matter that needs to be looked at on the street level. We need to figure out the technology and make sure that we're giving our law enforcement the tools where they can make. I know the vast majority of y'all want to make the right call, and I'm going to give y'all the benefit of the doubt in that regard. Bad apples, occasional bad apples aside, but I appreciate the valuable information, John. I got to scoot. I'll tell you what we're doing. We're calling a little bit of an audible. We'll do nincompoops right after the top of the hour, if that's okay with Ken Weaver, if that's okay with Jackson Williams. Ken says it's okay, so that's 2-1. Jackson says it's not okay, but we've already voted, and the Wolves are having the sheep for dinner. It's 51 after the hour on Super Talk. All right, we'll try to get to as many as we can. A lot of reaction to this conversation. It seems to me, and I'm just throwing it out there, that we ought to be able in 2026 to have some sort of field sobriety device, breathalyzer device, that would determine if your blood alcohol level is above the legal limit. That's it. It just, and if we can't figure that out, that's one thing. It's another thing for innocent people to wait over 8 months for justice. That is not a fair nor speedy adjudication of justice as we are guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States. And I will give most law enforcement the absolute benefit of the doubt that they want to do things the right way and that their hands are bound in a lot of ways. But that doesn't change that fact that you have innocent people that are being accused of something that they did not do. And, I've heard the suggestions. I've heard the people talking about, well, these LEOs just want to, they got quotas and they got all this and that and the other. I don't want to believe that, but it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to. It's hard for me not to. Chris is next up on this subject with a couple of minutes remaining. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. First off, thank you, sir. You have an amazing show. I love everybody on there with you, Jackson and Ken.
Thank you.
But anyway, my comment is I've been in the medical field for a long time. I'm a phlebotomist now, but I've worked in and out of labs. Your problem is, too, I actually know who taught the first 50 highway patrolmen here in Tennessee to draw blood. But anyway, your problem is, too, is it's not stored properly. That stuff gets beat and banged on the way there, which means the blood can hemolyze, and the testing doesn't come out properly anyway, so they may not be able to tell anything because the blood's ruined. And a lot of times that stuff needs to be refrigerated, and I've also talked to some other officers. There's no telling how long it sits in the little storage where they drop it off over there across the street from the courthouse. I guess it's over there at the jail is what they said. But and as they were talking about just testing for the 5 main ones, well, that's silly because the cost isn't that much more to go ahead and do all of it. And like you said, your blood comes back literally a lot of times it's overnight because so much of it is automated now.
Mm-hmm.
If Davidson County or anybody else wanted to do this, if they were smart, you're going through a company like LabCorp or Quest or Path Group. If they were smart, they would just literally have it sent straight to them. They would have a pickup location for them to be able to pick up the blood. It would be done the next day. These people wouldn't have to wait. And it'd probably be cheaper in the long run because you're not paying a bunch of state employees to do it. But that's really all I got, brother. But like I said,
thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate the information. The TBI apparently tested 16,883 blood samples, and 2.5% of them ended with no sign of alcohol or drugs in the blood samples. The Bureau also said while tests do not show a positive result in those cases, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were sober. That just sounds like Bravo Sierra to me. Well, all of the testing methods that we use came up negative, but that doesn't mean that we weren't right. Well, the hell with that. I mean, just absolutely to hell with that. You need to change the laws, come up with a better system, or admit that sometimes your officers are wrong and that the testing methodology, either the testing works or it doesn't. And if it doesn't work in almost 3% of the cases, then we need to come up with some different methodology. And that's not the responsibility of the LEOs that are on patrol on the streets trying to keep our streets safe. All right. Nincompoop's on the way. More calls on this if you so desire. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. I got a winner in Nincompoops, boys. I'll share it with you next on Super Talk.